Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to this week's video. It's going to be about metabolic syndrome, and we'll talk about what that's all about. If you recall, last week we did a tape measure around my waist and it was 34 inches, and I said I kind of need to work on that a little bit. All right, so we won't zoom in, but it's 33 inches today. So what I basically did was a little bit of discipline, kind of reduced the amount that I ate, and definitely ate only real foods. So it's a very simple thing to do. So metabolic syndrome, I've got a sign here, and what you're going to be able to do is there's a description thing that you can click on at the bottom of or on this, and it will give you all of these numbers. So metabolic syndrome is a collection of not so good things, right? If you go online, you're going to look what the experts are going to say about it, and they consider metabolic syndrome a disease. It's not. It's a series of things. And the experts aren't really sure where it comes from. They think it might be related to obesity and a sedentary lifestyle. And it's like, well, I guess, what, obesity is something you catch from a public toilet or something, or because somebody came up to you, they weren't wearing a mask or something? No. We talk about lifestyle and cleaning things up and going after the deflamed diet and handling your chronic inflammation. These are the measurements we're going to do. So what we have is, in order to have a positive diagnosis for metabolic syndrome, if you have 3 or more of these 5 things. So the fasting blood glucose, that's your blood sugar, should be 100 milligrams per deciliter blood or less. Your fasting triglycerides should be 150 milligrams per deciliter of blood or less. A fasting HDL, which is high density lipoprotein cholesterol, that is less than 50 and less than 40 for women, is part of this particular thing. So a higher HDL is much better. Now, they got all kinds of drugs that can raise this up and everything else, but why would you take a drug when eating healthy fats, eating healthy food, and exercise? Guess what it does? It raises your HDL. Why would you take a pill?
Right.
Why? You know, your blood pressure should be at least 130/85 or less. And a waist circumference for women at 35 inches or greater, or at 40 inches or greater for men, means you have metabolic syndrome. Now, they figure that 30% of the population of the United States has metabolic syndrome, which means they have 3 or more of those particular things. At the time the COVID hoopla was all going on, if you did your research and you looked and you didn't listen to the hysteria, metabolic syndrome was considered the pandemic within the pandemic. The people who did not do so well and had the worst prognoses with this were people that had 3 or more of the markers for metabolic syndrome. It's that simple. And these are all things that can be handled easily with lifestyle. 1 week I lost 1 inch from my waist. Now, granted, I work at this all the time, but you get the idea. This is not a death sentence.
It's not out of reach.
No, not at all. So what we basically do is we have a finger stick, and we can get your fasting glucose level. We do have a machine. We got to get it recalibrated, but we can also get your LDLs, which are low density lipoproteins, triglycerides, and your HDLs with a couple drops of blood. Your fasting HDLs, that would come from that machine, or you can get these if you have a recent blood work. What's interesting, if you are interested in blood work, we found a company that will go to your house, or they'll come here and draw the blood. And real inexpensive, real great, instant results and everything else. So that's something to consider. Your blood pressure.
Super easy.
Super easy. We've got one of these machines here. And your waist circumference, well,
we just did that.
Yeah, this is a $10,000 tape measurer.
So it's like we can rule out 3 of the 5 in 5 minutes at Paragon?
Right. Or if we do your waist to hip ratio, we'll know if you're inflamed or not.
Right.
There's really no point in going through life and not looking at this stuff. You know, we had talked about chronic inflammation. Chronic unresolved inflammation is the thing that is what causes pretty much every disease known to mankind. And it is the thing that leads to and is part of the metabolic syndrome. They're really all hand in glove. We're kind of talking about the same sort of thing for the most part. But yeah, it's a simple thing to take care of.
One thing I wanted to remind everyone of watching the video is that all the data points that he talked about, the specifics of those, will be in the description of the video just below where you're watching this right now. So don't worry about that. And then if you want to freeze frame on that, basically you don't want a positive diagnosis of metabolic syndrome, obviously. So like these numbers, you want to be less than. This would be, these are listed so that would give you a positive diagnosis, which you do not want. So
yeah, and at the end of the day, it really is, it's lifestyle. It's sunshine, it's a little bit of exercise, it's eating real food. You eat in a time-restricted eating window. So if you want to lose weight and you're male, so for only 8 to 9 hours you eat real food. If you're female, because of the hormones, it's 10 hours, real food. That's really about it. So, all right, we're going to let it go at that. Metabolic syndrome, love to talk to you about it. If you do look it up on the internet, don't pay any attention to it. Just kind of
very scary. Just give us a call.
Or what the experts say, because they're not experts. They're actually idiots. And there's a whole thing about the whole thing, and we're not supposed to make it, man. I'm telling you, we're supposed to be on medication. There's no money to be made in you being healthy. There's no money to be made in you dying. So you have to be prolonged. And if you think I'm kidding about it, come on in. I will show you reference after reference after reference. You really want to take care of yourself, and you can, and we can show you how. Yeah. All right, so we'll let it go at that, and we'll see you back here next week, and maybe we'll show you our body composition machine and how we can tell how much of you is muscle, water, how much is fat, and the thickness of your cell walls. All right, so if you think about it, hit like, hit subscribe, and keep those comments coming. Have a great week.
Yeah, have a great week, everybody. Take care.
See you later.